Good morning, Venmo Joe. How we doing?
Dude, I'm great, man. We're second major of the year is upon us. Aronimink.
PGA week, PGA week. We're
Can't
here.
wait, man. The PGA is like the drunk uncle of the majors, right? Like it's not as serious as the other three. And I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with this course. Much different than some of the PGA setups that they've had, not as long. I think it's gonna open up to some guys that are dark horses, and I think we're gonna get an unbelievable leaderboard. So I'm pumped, man. How are you?
I'm good. I feel the same way. It's funny. I forget who I want to give credit for this because I thought it was really smart. Maybe it's that Golf Taylor guy. I forget who it was on the Twitters. But he basically, to your point, like PGA being like the drunk uncle, he was like, that's sort of like how we talk about this. But actually, if I go side by side against the US Open, like course type and creativity and like what the rounds actually look like, PGA is like as hard, not quite as hard, like it's not as hard as the US in its peak. But if you go side by side, it's like right there. So he's like, I don't know why we treat this like it's just a runaway. The numbers don't say that, which I thought was super interesting
Oh,
because
it's
in my
good.
brain, it's like a
Yeah.
US Open by a mile hard.
Yeah, well,
I
and
don't
I
know.
think we got recency bias, right? US Open is coming off of Oakmont, which one guy was under par. I think this week you're going to see winning score in the 18 to 20 under range. So it's gonna be a little bit of a runaway. Some of it's gonna be dependent on weather, which I know we'll get into with the weather forecast. But that's part of the PGA changing to May, right? Is that it used to be in August, you used to get really dried out, firm greens, and when it's in May, especially in the Northeast or the Midwest, you get a lot of rain, right? So we're going to get some rain in the forecast. I think it's going to dry out for the weekend.
I think it's early, right?
We're
Thursday,
going to
something like
see,
that.
yeah, we're going to see some low scores. I read that, some caddies were talking and like the target for their guys are, be 4 under every day or yeah, every day of the tournament, right? So if that's the goal, some
Well, then
guys are going to
Scottie's
get even
out. He's
hotter
going to
than
shoot
that.
72 on Thursday, so that's
Nah,
that. We got one down.
Scotty's he's past the Thursday blues, man. He's past it. But yeah, excited to jump in on that. But I guess we gotta recap our bad card from last week too. I know that.
Yeah,
I know the
God. So let's just do that first. Let's get the nasty taste out first. I
yeah, it's
texted
bad.
you. But see, here's the thing though, and this is the guy who like refuses to be wrong talking here, right? So take that for what it's worth. I'm wrong, but not all the way wrong. I texted you what Friday afternoon or Saturday morning with a picture of the leaderboard and our card, and we were 4 out of 5 calls, including the fade, that were like right there. And
Yeah.
like Rory could have this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. Everything was lined up, and nothing happened. Rory like pissed in his pants that round, which was also strange, by the way, because I watched him, and I don't know if it was a narrative thing or what was going on, but I watched him walking up. He looked, like Rory. He looked like he just had a nice evening, and the commentator guys are basically like talking him up, like he's going to come out today and fucking tear this place up. He's looking so good. I saw him on the range, blah, blah. Look at that swagger. He tees off. Perfect tee shot on one. Second shot. Second perfect shot on second shot. Putt. Drills the putt. Birdie. Here we go, guys. Here's Rory. And then literally bogeyed the rest of the fucking day. And it was so weird because they were talking about how in control he was and how good he was looking. And it played out for exactly one hole. And then it fell apart. And then here's the thing. And just to like setting up for this week, I would take absolutely nothing from what I saw because it looked like a guy who
Yeah.
was just sort of mentally not totally there. He turned it on, shoots 69 or 67 or whatever it was. I think it was 67. He shoots basically every other round is good, and he's in control. And the other round, he's just sort of all over the place. So I wouldn't take any of that into this week. But it was just a strange vision of this guy who I thought was going to crush, and he looked ready to do it, and then he just didn't. And then he came back and, whatever, he finished 19 or whatever he finished. So yeah, that card was not.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I mean, I would say the commentary that we had on Rory was Quail Hollow's his course, so you can't discount him. But I think you and I also talked about that. Rory's at the point of his career. I don't think he gets up for regular PGA Tour events, regardless of if it's a signature event and it's at a course that he's historically done well at. I think he is major hunting right now. That's all he's doing, right? So last week, what we said
That's a
was,
good point.
don't be surprised if it's a just he's treating it as a complete tune-up for Aronimink, right? So yeah, I'm with you. I would not take a lot away from what we saw. It was a little peculiar, right? I mean, like even the first round, right? Like 17 straight pars. He almost that was
Yeah,
gonna be his first round without a birdie. He finally birdied 18, but it was just a really strange week for him. Aronimink, like what we're going to talk about with a lot of the top tier players that we've been discussing over the last couple of weeks. I mean, dude, the course fits him great, right? I mean, it
right.
fits him great. He's going to contend. Just didn't have it for Quail Hollow. He's won enough
I
there,
just
right? Didn't
I
need another trophy.
from our show here, I talk a lot about like just the watch, what I see, the aura, and
Yeah.
we'll get into it with Åberg, but there's something about how a player walks around the course, good at mostly when they're playing bad, and Rory just didn't seem like it mattered to him that he wasn't playing well, and that to me is like, oh, okay, you're not worried about anything, you're just like not giving a shit. So that was my big miss. Let's just recap since we got it. We had a sleeper pick, Harris English. Felt awesome about him all the way up until Sunday, basically, end of
Yeah, me
Saturday.
too. Me too.
He looked great, and then just and it wasn't like he fell apart. It was just like he just didn't stay with the pace. And I think what was it, Saturday? He might have been plus one or two or whatever, which is obviously not great. But like he was in it, and it just didn't finish. Xander, you had a pick. I think was Xander was top 5. That was not hitting. Adam Scott was a top 10 pick. That did not hit. Jordan Spieth
What
top
what I
20
what I what I
was a
will say about
disaster.
what I'll say about Adam Scott, he had a really weird first round.
Mm-hmm.
I actually loved. I mean, I didn't love it for the card for last week, but I loved that there was a lot of people that were circling Adam Scott for Aronimink, and then he had yeah, I think he was dead last on Thursday at Quail Hollow, but then like he came back, he played some solid golf. I'm not going to pick him to win when we get into our picks, but I like Adam Scott at Aronimink, right? He is number one shots gained approach. We're going to talk about how important that is at Aronimink because you're going to have a lot of approaches that are less than 200 yards, really in that 120 to 150 range. So I don't hate that he didn't pop at Quail Hollow because we're getting a much better number on him now at around.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny, right? Like Adam Scott was a novelty act for a few years, like as much as a couple of years ago. It was like, oh, every once in a while Adam Scott would show up and he'd like put out a good round and it might be at a major, mostly the Masters. And now I feel like every week we're talking about signatures and majors and you're like, Adam Scott is in that realm. Like, is he right now a top 10 golfer?
He's
Top
you know what
15?
I
He's
think
in
like
he's in contention, at
what
least
what I
in conversation every week, seems like.
what I he we you and I obviously love him. I think the data loves him. I like what I can't shake. It's why I love Justin Rose at the Masters. Like I just have this I've got this feeling that both Adam Scott and Justin Rose, Hall of Fame golfers, I just have this feeling that they're both going to get one more major or at least really contend in one more major. I would say Justin Rose would be one of those guys for this week, but we've already talked about why we don't love Rose with the equipment switch.
Well, until
I
he
just
started
think,
driving a Cars golf clubs,
yeah,
both he and Adam Scott were Mira guys, which, as you know, I'm a Mira guy.
yeah, you love Mira.
Fucking Mira's the best. And so, that makes sense to me. Older dudes with pure as shit irons, and now all of a sudden Rosie's driving around in a golf club car.
But like, I just can't shake the feeling that Adam Scott, you're just gonna see him on the leaderboard in one or multiple majors this summer. It might be the PGA, it might be the U.S. Open, like he did last year, right? Like he was right there at Oakmont, or it could be at the Open. Like he's one of those guys where I think you just got to put him in your card for top 10, top 5, even top 20. Just make sure you've got some exposure to Adam Scott. He's just playing too consistently to completely ignore him, right? And, to have a 70 to 1 ticket on him at one of these majors where I think he's going to really contend is going to make for a good sweat.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, I think one of the things you're circling, and it's with Rose, and jokes aside, with Rose and Scott, these are guys who have learned in their career how to play majors in a way that all these other young guys, which I think we're going to find out with Alex Fitzpatrick this week as well, is the effort of learning how to play in a major, which is basically managing the blow up hole, making sure you don't have a string of bogeys, or you don't have 3 putts, you don't have a blow up hole that basically make the rest of the week kind of pointless. Those guys know how to just hang around the cup, hang around the cup, hang around the cup. The thing about Adam Scott, and you could make this argument about Justin Rose too, but I would say Justin Rose has always kind of just always been in that realm. I never looked at Justin Rose as like a non-contending golfer. He, to me, is always like, game is on. It's just a matter of if he's really, he's like a Jim Furyk type. He's like, if he's really, really on, or is he just on the next level? Adam Scott, and there's been a lot of people who've talked about this, he's gained a bunch of speed on his driver, on his club head speed, like his swing speed. And he's picked up distance, and he's able to contend with all these young guys distance-wise in a way that he previously wasn't, and guys his age typically don't. And I just, the thing that is standing out to me with him, it's not just the majors. Like, I would have, like 3 years ago, I would have given you Adam Scott in the same list of names that I gave you Billy Horschel. Every once in a while, he pops on thing, you're like, oh shit, the Arcos guy. But that's not Adam Scott this year. The last 2 years, really, but this year in particular, every single tournament, at least one day on the first page. Whether it's the first day or the last day, on the first page is Adam Scott either charging at the end or setting a tone early, or he's just consistently around the cup in the majors. I think it's a lot of fun to watch. I think it gets into a story I want to talk about. I'm going to put in the newsletter, but I want to talk about later, which also involves our guy, Anthony Kim, and that incredible story. We will save that for the end here for the big takeaway, but just continue to go through this and rip off our receipts from this week, and then we can move into Aronimink. Max Homa was another one. I really like Max Homa.
Yeah, I love
And
him.
we've talked about this a bunch of times. He is a course horse for sure. He's got his places. His game right now, just like, there are flickers if you squint where it's got like a Dustin Johnson kind of appeal to it, and then all of a sudden you open your eyes all the way and like, that ain't it. And I can't quite get the grip on him. It's not lack of interest. He seems like he fucking loves golf.
But dude, he's got some of the best work ethic on the tour, right? He's just been,
And
he's been
is a new
fighting.
caddy. Like, why is it that he,
Yeah. Well, he was,
there,
I mean, yeah, he's had a pretty big drop off the last 2 years. I think, changed
he's
with
the
the
modern Ricky
caddy.
Fowler. He's like this cruise
Yeah.
Ricky Fowler, but he never got as
He's
good. I think, well, I don't know if he peaked as much as Fowler, but
Well, he doesn't have the commercial
well,
background that Rick has, but he's like, Max was beloved by, I think, like the greater golf population, still is, right? Like, he used to interact a lot on Twitter. I don't know if he's even on it anymore, but remember he used to do like he'd roast your swing.
now you got
He's
Michael
in,
Kim doing that. Michael Kim's all over Twitter right now, just like randomly. He is diving into random people's videos, or they'll be like, oh, I had a nice day at the park with my kid. And he dives in randomly in the comment section and will be like, oh, you're turning your wrist over too much and the ball is leaking and you got shitty clubs.
yeah, that Michael Kim's got too much time on his hand. He's all about X, but I like the insights that Michael Kim gives on like the day-to-day and the week-to-week PGA Tour life. Like he gave some great insight. But back to Max, like he's just been he's been chasing stuff, right? Like his driver was really off last year. And like now he just can't seem to put it all together. Just inconsistent parts of his game. Putting kind of comes and goes with him. His driver is still a little bit erratic. I hope he figures it out because he's one of my favorite golfers on tour. He's a guy that's going to be a stay away for me for quite some time until we see some level of improvement. And really, the only place that he seems to have gotten some consistency is at Augusta. But at these other courses, and even Quail, right? We called out that he's had success there. He's won there. It didn't materialize into anything, unfortunately, for our betting card.
You know, it's funny. And Max, I have the Max story. I get to play a hole with Max at our favorite Rich Harvest Farms. And he was every bit the gentleman that you think. I wish I was I wish I was 100th of the golfer that he is. What I would say when I watch him is I would not say he's got a struggle or a problem with any of his particulars of his game. It's not that there's a struggle. He has a hard time turning the gears on and off when needed. It's like he's always on a 7 or a 6.5 out of 10. He's just always on a certain plane. And when the guys who win and the guys who are like, ooh, this is my course, this is my window. Scottie is the perfect example of this, obviously at an extraordinarily elite level. He is Scottie. We talked about this after Scottie's last tournament, or 2 tournaments ago, where he's just sort of hanging in there. And you said, oh, he got started too late. Scottie is in a position where he can just sort of watch the game unfold in front of him, pick his spots and go, oop, this is a time where I can put a little pressure on, turn his game on a little bit, put the pressure on, and then sit right back down in a neutral and wait for you to fuck up and then chase you. And Homa, and obviously that's the elite level of this. It is like by order of leagues down the leaderboard for golfers, if you will, of like who has the ability to do that. We talked about Cam Young. Right now, it feels like he has the ability to. Rory clearly in majors has the ability to do that. Homa is one of those guys who, throughout his entire career, even at his peak, I felt like he was a victim of his own game. He's going to play the game, and it's going to be as good as it wants to be, but he can't turn on certain parts. He can't level up in the moment at the time. His game is just on. If that on is better than everyone else, then he's in contention. If it's not on, then it's not in contention. He doesn't have the ability to play into it. I don't know how to, I'm not describing it exactly right, but there's something about it that just feels like when it's time to rev it up, it doesn't rev. It's not that it collapses or something. It's not that. It just doesn't rev. It's a
Yeah,
watch.
he just seems to have to expend a lot of energy round to round, right? Like nothing seems easy for him. Like, I mean,
Right.
he'll play a perfect hole, he'll birdie it, and you're like, all right, Matt, like to your point, like, all right, maybe he's up, like, he's up the gear level here and he's gonna be, off to the races. And then he's kind of like Spieth or Hovland right now. He just has that erratic
I
scorecard,
mean,
right? Where
that is
you go
Spieth's game at this point,
three,
right?
three to double bogey, back to a birdie, back to a bogey, like, and like that just puts so much stress on you. And like
It's
that's
hard.
the stuff that like the elite guys don't have, right? Like to your point on Scottie, he picks his spots, but when he doesn't pick his spots, he's going to the middle of the green. He's got a 25 footer for birdie. If it goes in, great. If not, he's got a stress-free par. Like Homa doesn't have those stress-free like kind of moments within a round. Like he's grinding for every single thing. And that's why you're not seeing great results with it, right? Where he's like fighting tooth and nail to have an even par round. Like
Well,
that's kind of what he is right now.
I can appreciate the feeling of grinding through life, Joe. Trust me.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm grinding for bogey golf, so
I'm just talking about
I'd
real
love to
life.
be
Real
I'd
life.
love to be grinding for par golf.
Every day is a fucking grind. So I want to talk about the other pick. I had him as top 5, but he didn't. He ended up top 10, blew it. But this is our transition point to the PGA, and that's Cam Young. We put him on our list. We talked about it, and he did everything you would expect him to do last week, except for the second half of Sunday, and it went to shit. And you know what? If he would have had like a ball in the water, or 1-3 putt, and that's how it went down, I wouldn't have any concerns in the world. I just got done talking about this last week about watching him with his composure, calling a fucking foul on himself and then drilling a putt. You said his putter is unbelievable right now. And my contention is that he has evolved and he is now a very, very good putter, or is he on a hot putting streak and regular Cam? I mean, by the way, it can't be both. Regular Cam is the old Cam, or is regular Cam an elevated putting Cam, and he just happened to have a 4 putt and a 3 putt? Because it couldn't happen at a worse time. Because I love, we've been talking about this for weeks, love Cam coming into major season here, and then he does that, and I'm like, wait a minute, what did you see? What happened to you? You have a hot take on Cam in general this week, so let's use Cam as our segue. We know he didn't get it done on Sunday, but he didn't get
Yeah.
it done in a way that makes it's got a little hangover.
It is weird, right? I mean, like, you always get when a professional golfer does something that a regular golfer would do, you get all the tweets that say, hey, Cam Young, one of us, right? Because he, three putted from like 4 feet. Um, I think Cam is a really good putter. Yes, has he spiked of course, right? Like, I mean, at Doral, like, is that going to be the putting that you see every week? Of course not. The guy would be fucking Tiger Woods if that's what it was. But I think we have a big enough sample size with Cam Young where he's a good putter. He's just, who knows what happened there. My cautionary kind of like feel for Cam going into the PGA is that, I mean, dude, he's the most tipped golfer that I've ever seen, right? Like I've consumed a lot of PGA Championship content this week. I know you have too.
No way.
Everyone comes
No,
out with their,
you're reading about golf this week, Joe?
yeah, always, but more so this week. If you look at the power rankings that I've seen, a lot of guys have Cam over Scottie and Rory, which I think is absurd, right? Yeah, he's playing unbelievable golf, but he still hasn't won a major. You've got Scottie who's won four. He's the defending champion of the PGA championship, won by 5 strokes at Quail Hollow last year, which is a much tougher course than you're going to see at Aronimink. And Rory, like, so I just anytime that I see the putt, like, the sort of like the quote unquote like golf experts plus the public just circling a guy, um, it's an automatic stayed away from me. Like, could he win? Sure. I just, at 11-1 and him being like the favorite that I see more people picking than anyone else, usually the public just isn't right on that, right? When you have a consensus pick, run the other way, right? If it seems too good to be true, usually it is. And that's what's got me uncomfortable with Cam this week is just like the universal love coupled with the fact that he hasn't won a major and you saw a little bit of the putting yips on Sunday.
I mean, that's enough for me to be a stay away. I wouldn't say it's a fade, but
Yeah,
it's
it's not a fade. It's not a fade. It's not like where we've had conviction on certain guys where it's like, hey, they can't win. Cam can absolutely win. What I'm telling you is he's most tipped and like you're not getting a ton of value. And here's some stats for you. Before the Ryder Cup and Cam Young became Mr. Much as could be, he was 80-1 to win this tournament before Bethpage.
yes.
Best American at Bethpage. I think the odds go to like 50-1. Before the Players Championship, he was 33-1. So like there was value in Cam Young. Like,
Yeah.
and that's what you and I have talked about, right? Like there's spots where you can get value months in advance of a tournament. But if you're telling me I could have gotten him at 80-1 in September and now he's at 11-1, like the value's gone, right? Like
Yeah. He's not a
it's
bettable.
been completely eroded.
He's not a bettable. He's maybe a good bettable during the tournament live. Um,
I completely agree. All three of the guys, Scott, right, are top 3 tier, right? Rory, Scottie, Cam. I think that's the guidance that we've given our audience. This is what I did with Scottie last year at Quail Hollow. Absolutely loved him at Quail Hollow. He was 3-1 to start. I'm like, I can't take him at 3-1. So I tracked him on Thursday. I think he started off pretty slow, maybe +1 through 4 or 5 holes, got to his odds doubled, right? He went to like 6.5-1, and I buried
now
him at
you're in.
6.5-1. That would be my recommend. Like pick one of those top 3 guys, whether it be Scottie, Rory, or Cam, and wait for your moment Thursday or Friday to pounce on it. And if the odds never get there, they never get there.
I mean, I love that model. It also keeps it very, very entertaining as the kids are running around and you're sitting there watching golf and listening to golf, and it's like, oh, put a little wager in here and watch it run out. I'm
Yeah,
expecting Cam
you're like, girls, come on, Dad's in the lab right now.
for real, trying to
Dad's
pay for
trying to pay for your
college.
yeah. Well, you're
Trying to,
trying to pay for Disney now, but yeah, college too.
yeah, well, I'm just using it to pay for Chat GPT. The Cam thing, and put an end on it. The Cam thing that I want to see. This is kind of I guess V2 of our conversation from a couple weeks ago. There's an opportunity in a major to have a horse race, and we put him in that. You're in the top 4, and we kind of said like Matt Fitzpatrick is, but he's not. He is like if he wins or he's in top place, I wouldn't be surprised at all. But I'm not expecting day one. It's like here's Rory, here's Scottie, here's this guy, and here's this guy, and we're gonna watch him chase. I would love to see Cam make a horse race Saturday and Sunday. Whether he wins or not or in top 5 is fine. But to see those guys doing this on Saturday, Sunday, and if he can do that, even if he doesn't win, I'm going to put him on okay, this guy's in that group because this is the tournament. the major where you're like, it's all been fun. It's a cute story. You've looked dominant, but can you play it out with these guys? And so that's what I'm excited to see. I think the course is super interesting. You kind of talked about the top. The last PGA champion there was Gary Player, so they haven't really played there a ton.
Yeah,
I don't know.
1962. Been a while.
Right. So you've got like the course design. It's very, in my opinion, like very old school. And there's like we've kind of done our homework, so to speak, on here. There's a handful of holes that are long, but it's like it's kind of gettable. Like I'm going hole by hole right now, and it's like I don't see.
Way gettable. Way gettable.
I mean, I only see one. Let's see, two holes are 500 plus, and neither of them are 600. They're both 560 and 570. They'll probably play 580 at daytime. Once again, this is an approach shot tournament, second shot tournament. Like, again, going through the list, like putting on a slope is like, even scrambling isn't like that rewarded here. It's just kind of part of the round. Wedge procs is not a huge thing. Like most of these guys are going to be hitting 52s into the greens all day. So like I don't know, man. If like distance is not an asset here. I'm looking at this course and I'm trying to think of the players.
Well, I mean, the interesting debate has been like, oh, because it's less than 7,400 yards, it doesn't need to be a bomber, right? It doesn't need to be, a Rory or a Cam necessarily. It opens up the opportunity for a guy like Russell Henley, which we'll get into, right? Which usually he's kind of a little overpowered by a PGA Championship course because it's 400 or 500 yards longer than this. I still think, I mean, the driver always plays, right? So like, I still think this is a great course fit for Scottie, Rory, and Cam. But to your point, it's really about who really excels in that 150 to 200 yard approach shot because it is a par 70. You've only got two par fives. They're not super long. And the par four is especially on the front nine are not long, right? So I think the front nine is much more gettable than the back nine, right? I'm looking at it right now with the great data that you and the team put together, right? Like hole one, 432 yards, hole two, 415, hole four, 460, hole six, 445, hole seven, 440, hole nine, 415. All the par fours on the front nine are less than 500 yards, which like, yeah, that's not typical for PGA Tour courses now. We see a lot of par fours that are like 520, 530. So I think it's going to be who's best positioned in that 150 to 200 yard range. And some of these big bombers on most of those par fours are going to have like flipped wedges in, right? So you're going to see a lot of pretty good proximity numbers, I would assume, on these approach shots from some of the guys that we're going to call out.
Yeah, I mean, again, looking at the card, if I'm betting live, I'm looking for guys on 12, 13, 14, 15. On 12, it's the blind tee shot. It's the hardest, I would say, maybe it's the second hardest. It depends on the tee shot. If your tee shot's wayward at all, it's the hardest hole in the course. If you can survive that hole, you're going to birdie. Somebody will eagle number 13. It's drivable.
Yeah,
Somebody's going to eagle that.
Yeah.
If you can then get on and get off without anything over par on the par three, I think from there on out, you've got the par five, another scoring opportunity. The rest of the round is in your control. So if I'm looking at some of these guys and I'm thinking live bet, I'm watching Thursday or Friday coming into the weekend. Cam Young, for example, he's in it, but he's not in it. Comes into 12. I'm looking at his odds right there. If he makes the whole, if he does well on 12, I'm like, okay, I'm putting on him right now and ride it into the weekend. And then thanks to the magic of prediction betting, you can fucking sell later. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, no, that's a great call. That's a great call. Yeah, summary of the course, shorter. It doesn't sound like the pros are all that concerned about the rough that's been put in place. Like Rory even said it. He goes like he's almost taking the approach that Bryson used to take, which is just like I'm gonna hammer it down there and figure it out.
I was going to say that is definitely the route that these guys take, all these young duds. But I mean, We talk offline, we talk a lot about like all the different analytics that change sports and all the trends in different sports, and whether it's 3-point shooting in the NBA or whatever. Golf has a similar thing where it used to be like play it short, find position, avoid traps. Now it's like fucking bomb it and just, I'd rather be long and wide than short and on the right spot. And I guess that's something a lot of people probably say.
Yeah. Now, I will say, looking at this course, for me, this is like absolute nightmare fuel because it's got 174 bunkers on this course. I think that's the most bunkers that they'll see on the PGA Tour all season. So, like, for me, a
Long day
guy
at the
that
beach.
historically cannot get out of the sand, this place would absolutely terrify me. Um, so, these pros are so good at the bunkers that doesn't concern me. They don't seem concerned about the rough. There's not many holes with water. I think it's three, right? So completely different than what we talked about at Doral a couple of weeks ago, where water came into play a lot. You're not going to see that at Aronimink. I think it's going to make for great theater. I don't think it's the absolute best test in golf, but the PGA Championship, that's not really their lane, right? That's the U.S. Open, that's the Open Championship. That's the true test of golf, where you're going to see some crazy conditions. You're going to see guys struggle to stay under par. Like, this is going to be fun. Like, I look at this. This is probably going to be a leaderboard like we saw in 2024 at Valhalla, right? Where it was like Xander won that, his first major. Great story, great theater. Bryson was right there. Victor was right there. Like, all those leaders were in the high teens for scoring. Like, I don't think we're gonna see like crazy double, triple bogeys, but by the time you and I are hanging out Saturday and Sunday, like, the leaderboard's going to be stacked and it's going to be awesome. And I don't see anyone running away with it because I just don't see a lot of guys struggling with this course, right? So I would be
I think
surprised if you saw a guy like Scottie last year he won by 5. I don't see that happening this week.
it's also an incredibly deep field. This field feels like it's
100.
just everyone who's anyone is at this tournament, and the number of people who, I'm not talking about winning it, but are playing well enough that they're going to be on the board, like Ricky Fowler we're talking about. He's playing fucking awesome. I'm not putting money on
Dude,
him to win this thing,
yeah,
but
but we
he's
should
like
put him on our
all those
card. He's
guys.
playing
Yeah,
great, dude. He is playing so unbelievable. I know you and I got excited about him on Sunday, and then he
yeah,
proceeded to miss like a 5-foot
to
birdie
Ricky.
putt on 16. But I love Ricky. I agree with you. You're going to see a lot of guys that you maybe have forgotten about a little bit, that haven't been in contention, that you're
Everyone's
going to see.
charging. Everyone's just coming in
Yeah,
playing really, really good golf. There's a handful of guys, Victor Hovland and a few that are like not, but even they're not is still like damn good golf. So the only other,
the warning I would give on Hovland, because you know my love
I'm
for
not
him.
putting money on that.
No, no, no. I saw a video this weekend, or like, I think this morning or last night, on the driving range where he was hitting irons cross-handed.
Cross-handed.
And it's just like, dude, Victor, can you just stop? Like, you're making it really hard to love you right now because you're tinkering you're in the lab way too much, and you've lost your way a little bit. Like, just go back to the guy that fucking outdueled Scottie at Olympia Fields 3 years ago. Like, where's that guy? That's the guy that I want to watch.
I don't know. He hasn't been here in a while. As I've said, I'm off the Hovland train for a while, and when I see shit like that, the tinker stuff, I know it's time to pack up. Um, handicapping the players who are here. There's not a ton of guys with a ton of history here, but the guys who do are notable. Justin Rose is one here, playoff in 18, won in 2010. He's probably got the best course history. I mean, Fleetwood, I'd tell you he's won here, but he hasn't because he's only won the FedEx, and that's it. But he has the on-course record twice in 2018. He's a
Yeah.
stud, and I think he's playing really, really well, actually. He's just not quite at that, like, turn it on, which scares me. I would never intentionally pick Tommy Fleetwood for a win just because I think as a bettor at least, and also just as a consumer, usually betting on people to do something that they don't do, win, is not a great reward. But putting him in a top 5, I feel good about because I do think he's playing really well. And this is the kind of tournament that he sneaks into. And it's like, oh, yeah, Tommy Fleetwood. That dude's still a
Yeah, of
boss.
course. Of course. And then did you call Keegan out? Keegan won
I
in
did. Yeah, I mean,
2018. Oh,
did
yeah, yeah.
not. You just did. I just don't. Like, is Keegan.
Yes. I mean, dude, come on. I think he's gonna win? No, but like, I mean, let's not forget, less than 12 months ago, everyone was making the case that he should be on the Ryder Cup because, he won a signature event at the Travelers. He was playing great golf. He's won a PGA, right? That is his one and only majors. Someone to, I would look at top 10, top 20 for Keegan.
I mean, I'm down to throw on it. For some reason, and maybe honestly, maybe once you become a captain of a Ryder Cup, I just assume you're an old man card now. And
Yeah,
it's
but
like,
he ain't,
to
man.
me,
He ain't.
no, I
All
know. It's
right.
just, I'm not, for some reason, not looking for him. But anyway,
All right, who do
let's
you got
start
who you got
putting it
winning,
down.
man? You've got the suspense built up. I want to know who Scott's picking to win.
Man,
One guy. One guy.
one guy to win. This is boring. I really think Scottie Scheffler's going to repeat. I think he's going to have, like Rory did, repeat Masters, and Scottie's like, fuck that, I'm coming back. He
Yep.
hasn't gotten that win. He's been dangling around the end of it. And as you said, I don't think there's going to be a runaway. I know it's a dumb pick, but if I had one guy,
It's
and not because
it's
he's the
not a dumb
best,
pick.
well,
It's probably
it's
the
just
right
it's a
pick.
chalk pick.
It's
Yeah,
definitely a
well, but
chalk
it
pick.
hasn't been for how many weeks in a row? It's been not the right
You
pick.
know, you know what's frustrating? I love that. Obviously, I love that pick. I look at Scotty a lot like I looked at him going into Quail Hollow, right? Where it's just like it seems inevitable. What I don't love is the fact he's only won once this year, and his odds like have not adjusted at all, right? So
Yeah,
it's like you're still paying this super
it's not. I'm
premium
not, like I said,
for,
I'm not spending money on it.
yeah,
Not now.
like you're
Like
you're still paying the
I'll wait till
super
Thursday.
premium on him. Like you're still paying the super premium on him at like 3.5 or 4 to 1, and it's like, to your point, biggest field that they're going to see, 156 guys, right? So it's like you're getting 3 to 1 on a guy that's won once. You're still paying for 2024 and 2025 success. And I do think he's got a chip on his shoulder, right? I think that the fact that the world of golf has been talking about Rory winning the Masters, you know, is Cam the best player in the world right now? Is Fitz the best player in the world right now? And like, I could totally see this as an opportunity for Scotty to be like, "What'd you guys forget about me?"
Right. Right. So yeah, I mean
So
that's
I like the I like the pick. Um,
probably my pick.
I mean, I'm gonna go chalky too, not as chalky, but I'm going back to Alberg, Ludvig Åberg.
Big.
Dude, this course fits him so well. I tracked him all 4 days at Quail Hollow. He was frustrating to track, I would say that, and watch. Um, he couldn't make 11 to 13-foot putts until Sunday, which he very well could have been in contention because he finished top 8 and missed probably 15 from that range over the first 3 days of the tournament. He's driving the ball fantastically. He plays long par threes really well, which you're going to see at Aronimink. He's got a tendency to chip in, right? He chipped in at the
Yes, he
Players a
does.
couple times. He chipped in at Quail Hollow. I think you're going to see him chip in once or twice during this tournament. I mean, he's been driving the ball so good. And like, yes, did he miss a lot of 11 to 13 footers last week? Yes, but what that tells me is that his approach shots were pretty dialed in, right? Like his proximity was super close, right? With those, giving himself realistic birdie putt opportunities. He's going to win a big one soon. I've got to be on him when he does. I think this is a great course fit for him. People are off him a little bit just because he's been frustrating. You had the Players collapse. You had him kind of stuck in neutral for the first 3 days last weekend. But you just got a feeling this is one of those weekends where he's just going to be rolling and you're going to see him at the top of the leaderboard and be like, fuck, why didn't I pick him? So I'm going to pick him.
I think it's a great pick. It's by far the best value pick, I think, in the entire tournament. If you're looking for actual like talent, ability to win a tournament like this, and then also how the market's got him priced, it doesn't get better than this. Just other guys that I'm going to call out here, I think are worth paying attention to financially, perhaps. Russell Henley. I always love putting Russell in it, but like this is a course made for him. You called him out before. When the course is like this, it allows him to have just an extra little bit of ability to contend. Called out Fleetwood. I know this is going to sound goofy because it's like every time it's a coin flip, whether he's in contention or he just does like misses the cut. Justin Thomas has been playing well. He's had a couple of tournaments that don't go well, but there's something there. He's walking and talking like a guy who's in it and believes he's in it. Whether or not he shoots 76 on the first day and is out of it, I can't speak to that. But I feel like that's one where odds are pretty solid for a pick like that. A guy who's got 2 going for a third could be interesting. Anyone else that you think of that stands out as like a good favorable pick that is real chance to gala?
No. I do love Saad, but no. I want to double down on your Henley call, right? I mean, he is very tipped right now. He's not quite as tipped as our boy Cam, but I see a lot of people calling him out. But I think it's for the right reasons, right? His superpower is his wedge play. With the course being a little less than 7,400 yards, he's going to have a lot of approach shots from inside 150 yards. So I look for him to contend. We just got to see if he can win or not, right? So my guidance there would be maybe a sprinkle on a winning ticket, but really focus more on top 5, top 10, because I do think that he's kind of like a top 10 major merchant right now. So I think that's a pretty safe bet. And like the commentary that I keep hearing about this week, which I agree with, is that when you have a course that is gettable, it opens up the competition to, the mid-level hitters plus the long
Corey
bombers.
Connors is in that mix.
I do think,
Sanjay's in that mix.
I just think it's ripe to produce a first-time major champion, which is kind of why I love Ludvig and Henley, right? First-time major champion opportunity, 2 guys that seem to fit the course really well, playing really well. I would not be shocked at all if we saw a first-time major champion and it be one of those 2 guys.
I'm going to throw out one guy that I make fun of every week when you pick him, but I'm going to pick him. What if Akshay comes out of nowhere?
You've talked me out of him.
I don't like him.
You've talked me out of him. So now
because I want him. I want him.
I'm the lefty. I want the lefty. I get the lefty. I'm lefty. That's my choice. Dude, I don't know.
I got Akshay live. Akshay's live on the show. Akshay, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I don't know. Is it going to be windy in Pennsylvania? He might get blown over this weekend. So that's something.
No, but his what he won earlier this year, it was a field like this where it's stacked and everyone's kind of looking for the horses because there's so many, and he just like played a fucking good rounds. And I'll tell you this, I already put money on him being the first round leader. I could see him being first round leader. That doesn't bode well for him winning, but
I got a first round leader for you too. Listen, Akshay, I like.
He's my sneaky pick. That's the one I'm throwing.
You've opened my eyes on him the last couple of weeks, so I'm gonna stay away. But I will fully support you.
That's because I wanted him.
I like 2 guys for first round leader. One, Nick Taylor. He's got a pair of opening round 6s over the last 2 weeks. Could totally see it because it is a par 70 and you've only got 2 par 5s, and like that's really where the long hitters usually have their advantage, is you've got 4 par 5s or at least 3. This one's only 2. I could see him just playing like a really solid round of golf, and he just holes putts when he's on. Huge value there. I think he'd be like 100-1 on first round leader. And here's a guy that everyone's forgotten about. You and I talked about him last year for the US Open, but then he went to live and disappeared. Miss Dietrich, the guy that ran away at Phoenix last year, looked like he was going to be kind of entering that, like,
I love that
not the first tier, but like second, third tier of PGA Tour superstars. You're getting so much value on him because he is out of sight, out of mind. So I like Dietrich top 10 at 7-1, and I'm also going to sprinkle him first round leader because he could be one of those guys where literally everyone forgot about him, and then you're looking at the leaderboard Thursday night and you're like, fuck, Thomas Dietrich, there he is. So those are my 2 picks for the audience on first round leaders.
You know where I just put Dietrich? Top live golfer. We didn't even talk about live golfers, and we're not really going to. I just don't think that Rahm looks like he's in any mental place. And I don't like
such a far stay
fucking out to lunch. So I'm not touching that. I love Dietrich as the top live golfer. I want to wrap on this. I know we got to roll. How do you think Alex Fitzpatrick is going to do this week? And I want to acknowledge how fucking unreal this run has been. This is a guy people were like, myself included, who didn't, in fairness, I didn't do my homework on him really. It's a DP Tour guy, the brother of Matt. Matt's awesome.
Yeah,
Matt,
that's all we know.
Has that awesome bunker shot. He gets the tour gift card of a lifetime. It's amazing. but then he rolls out a top 10 and then finishes 4. He was in contention. Yeah, he just kind of faded at the end. I wouldn't say blew or anything like that.
Big time contention. I mean, final group, right? Like, I mean,
Right.
went into Sunday with the lead. I think he's gonna play really well. I don't think he's gonna win the PGA Championship, but like he's clearly on a heater right now. He's playing with house money. He's got all the confidence in the world. I think he's gonna play really well. I love
What
it.
are the
I
FanDuel
think that.
odds that we can get for 2 Fitzpatricks in the top 5? What is that?
Yeah,
bet?
let's look at that right now.
That's a buy. That pays for Disney right there. While you're looking this up, I just want to wrap it. I just feel like no one saw what his game was, and now we got to see it. And I like I said, I don't think he blew the round on Sunday. He just didn't win it. And there is a curve you have to learn to win. And he's going to learn the major curve, which is like the biggest thing that we talk about every week is why not Fleetwood? Why not this guy? Because they haven't busted it through on the major. So I don't think he's going to. But holy shit, I feel like the PGA Tour just adopted like a top 25 guy, Matt's brother, and like we just didn't know.
Did you see they were already talking about like Team Fitzpatrick for the Ryder Cup in 27?
Yeah, it's gonna be. Oh
like
my god, I would
pairing up
nothing
Alex
to
and
do
Matt.
with that.
Yeah,
They should.
The chemistry there. So to pay for your Disney trip, a parlay of Matt and Alex in the top 5 would be 90-1. So there you go.
Bing, I'm booking that as soon as we finish this up. You know, the funny thing about Alex that I noticed, we talked about it on the show a couple weeks ago, when he played with Matt, I feel like Alex is one of those guys who has all the game, but what ends up happening is he takes kind of dumb risks and dumb shots. And when he was playing with his brother, I distinctly remember one period where Matt asked him, "What were you doing?" Like on his shot, he walked up and he's like, what were you thinking? And I feel like it clicked in his head playing with his brother and seeing it all in real time on the PGA. Not that DP's not, but it's not the PGA. And it was like, yo, like you don't have to do that. You play positionally. And ever since that, he's on the tour and it's like, I don't see a guy out there like trying to press. I see a guy who's just like taking the shots as they come to him. He might be on a heater, but like, I don't know. He looks pretty good to me. So
he looks like he belongs, and I'm happy for him because there was people talking shit after the Zurich and being like, oh, he got gifted a tour card. And you and I disagreed with that because we actually watched the tournament and we actually had the stats on like how many birdies he had when they were playing and, you know, best ball and like what he was bringing to the team on alternate
he was a real player.
He earned it. And I'm just happy that the first 2 weeks that he got to show it, like he rose to the occasion and he's been in contention and everyone's like, wow, I was wrong on him. So props to him. Love to see it. And I look for him to play really well this weekend.
Well, you got my card now. You guys can follow us at Katoon, at Venmo Joe, at No Strokes Pod on Instagram. We're going to post the actual scorecard and the picks. You got them on the show here, but you can get it there too. Joe, as always, it's a pleasure. It's early. We got a whole work day ahead of us. And then tomorrow I'm going to clock out mentally and watch golf because that's what I do.
There we go. I can't wait, man.
All right. Take care.
See you, buddy.
See ya.